Hi, this is Dan. I'm going to go through working with editing your district's meetings on our Area 92 website. The On our site here, we have on this upper black bar here, where my cursor's moving there. You have this login place right here, and when I hit login, I go to my district. D5, I'm in District 5, put in the password. And a little note here, if you're not, if you've been handed this username and password and you're not comfortable working on a computer or something like that, at this point I would take somebody through and say, here's a printed guide or printed meeting schedule for our district. Could you make sure that the website has exactly the same info? And you could hand it to somebody, and they could take care of that for you. Because when we log in under this district username, I only have access to District 5 meetings at this time. Excuse me. And you'll notice you come to this dashboard, there's a bunch of information about things that are happening on the website that you don't need to worry about. All you need to do is click on meetings. And when you're in the meetings portion, you'll notice that there's, right now there's published 1,162 meetings in our area. Under mine here, it means District 5 because that's how I'm logged into it. And I can work with that. And probably the easiest thing here is start with adding, let's say you have a new meeting started in District 5, and I hit Add New up here. And it comes up with this form, and I'm going to call this New Meeting. And the day it meets is going to be on Sunday. The time is 11 a.m. to 12. It defaults to that, but if I had an hour and a half meeting, I could change that end time. And it's going to be 11-step meditation. You'll notice if I click this View All, there are quite a few options to click here. But if there isn't one here that's covered, let's say that we have a birthday, or I want to put a note about how we act in the meeting. That's what this note's about. There's further on when we go into location, there's notes about the location that might be unique, or somebody might need to know to get to the right place in a building, and so on. And so I could click that. I could make this a closed meeting, and so I can click multiple stuff. And then if I had something unique that like only bald members allowed to share, something like that. You may suspect I'm bald now. So you can be very specific there on anything that's unique to your meeting, so you can exercise your autonomy. The next part here is location, and I could say it's in the XYZ church. And an address and so on. This is popping up stuff that's in my address book stuff. But it is required to have something in there. The region would be specifically, like region is like in larger areas and stuff like that, they might have the different parts of the city, or I could say that this is part of Wenatchee, and which doesn't make sense with that address, but I don't know where that came from. So And it's based on, no, I went to Federal Way. So we'll talk about how it actually verifies the address, so you need to have a valid address and so on. But here the notes are based on the location, like, and it kind of gives you a good example there around the back, or you need to go into to a certain door in the church or the building, and so on. Now the next part, it says it's optional, but to keep this information, or basically keep it into District 5, I need to make this part of a group. Now if it's an individual meeting, in a sense, I would create, the new meeting group. And what that does is allows me to pick a district, because I need that district tag on there to give me access to this meeting if I need to modify or delete this thing. So it also gives me other information here that I could put in, like notes are, hey, this is brand new meeting, we're seeing if it's going to work. I might put something in here, or this is really an admin note here. If they had their own website, an email to, this is group specific, so if they had somebody that was in charge of this meeting, I might want to put their email and their phone number, and some other stuff, and then contacts. But this isn't viewed on any the website or on the meeting guide app. It's not public information. It's really for administration of this, and say, I heard that this meeting changed from somebody that's not part of that meeting. I'd like to be able to call somebody to make sure. A lot of times that'd be the GSR you'd probably put there, if they have a GSR. So I've filled in what I want, and then I can, a couple things that are pretty consistent about this form is I can preview it, I can save a draft. Let's say I'm getting interrupted before I finish. But the main thing is I need to publish this before it actually goes onto the website in the meeting guide app, which I'm not going to do here with this junk to do that. So going back to meetings, and actually I'm going to just move this to the trash. It pops up some stuff if it thinks you might be not saving something. So if I would hit publish, it probably wouldn't pop that window, and so on. Here's another one I was messing around with. So I can add new. I could go in here. I got one here. It's in draft mode. Just start messing around with. I can do that. I can basically trash this one, but I could also change this as long as it has saved in there when I actually save this thing that it's District 5. Remember, you got to have this part here which says optional, but to be able to modify or make this part of District 5's responsibility to maintain this meeting and make sure that it's accurate, you have to say it's part of a group and give it a name. And we've run into a lot of groups have the same name, like One Day at a Time, those kinds of things. So we'd put One Day at a Time Wenatchee or East Wenatchee or Leavenworth or something like that. Put something that'll make it a unique tag on the group. And so that part of that is, and I'm going to go ahead and save that as a draft again. But if I want to modify a meeting, let's say I'm trying to find one here, Skookum probably. The other thing's just some tools you can use all the time is Skookum. I can search for stuff, and then here the Skookum group has 2 meetings, and that are listed under that group. And this Friday meeting doesn't have any notes on it. It's got a correct address on there. But on the location part, I want to make sure you understand this part. Since we have 2 meetings a week at this same location at Skookum Group, it shows you for mostly for editing capability. Let's say if this church or an Alano club or something moves, there might be, a lot of meetings attached to that location. So if you change the location information here, these meetings will follow it automatically unless you need to change it, and then you could change it individually. So there's 3 meetings that meet there during the week on Monday, Friday, and Saturday. So that location information, that's really handy when you have multiple meetings at the same deal. Notice it's part of a group, and Skookum, and there's 2 meetings, and notice that there are 2 meetings attached to this group. And most importantly, it's got District 5 attached to that, so I have access, and then there's some notes about some people that are consistently there that can help make sure that if anything changes, we could contact them. That's about it. You get, I'm in the process right now of changing or printing a new printed schedule. So this is where my master schedule lies now. So what I do is I go through the last PDF that we created for our printed schedule, and I go through and make sure that it matches everything in here. Because when changes are made here, we just go do that, or you find out about a change. It could be done, but if we print quarterly a new printed schedule, so then we take that printed schedule, match it to this, and if there's any changes, make the changes before we print. And and that's about it. So just at the beginning, I talked about how to manage this, and hope if you're not comfortable with this part of it, find somebody else it is. It's a transfer service where you can hand them, here's what we need to have in here to match that, and they can go through that. So hopefully pass this video on to the next person that is responsible, and we can keep this going, and we can have accurate information on our website and the meeting guide app.